Salutations, I'm Studyletter77, and today we've got an amazing video for you guys. So we've got the Dowsing Rod. This weapon, I hear a lot of people trash talk, despite it being a really good freaking weapon. So, has a nice mag size, and really high fire rate, and its gimmick is fire rate. So the longer you're sustaining fire, the more fire rate you're going to get. And then the base damage is low. That's fair. That's a lot. That's the main complaint that a lot of people have with these weapons is the base damage is low, which really does get on my nerves sometimes. But this weapon's pretty good. So I'm rocking Action Skill and Corrosive on this one, but we've got 3 other ones as well here. This one's not going to be used, but the reason why we have these is to apply Match Set for getting that increased mag size for our Dowsing Rod. So this way we're hitting like 223, I think, off the top of my head. So because we're rocking the Green Monster, we're getting another +5 to that mag size skill, getting us up to 70% on the skill. Now, Green Monster, this is a very interesting comm because it gives bonus corrosive damage the longer you're sustaining fire, but it also gives bonus splash damage the longer you are sustaining fire. That's a hidden thing. It's a hidden Blastmaster. The Blastmaster is also in the comm, which is super interesting. We're rocking a Snowdrift Victory Rush as we typically do with Corrosive Shock, and then mag sizes on here. I would have preferred getting Incendiary on this one, but I just didn't feel like going out and farming another Victory Rush. I just pulled this off another character. And then we've got a Nagata here, Grenade Throw. We've got a Plus Ultra, because we're going to be using a very unique survivability setup with Moze today. I don't ever see people use this style of survivability on Moze, and I'll get to that in a minute. But first, the reason why we are on Moze, because I don't typically play Moze. I had a comment a month ago that I didn't get to, that I just recently remembered about, and I was looking for what to do for today, and Nuke EE3KX in the comments of one of my community posts says, if I play Moze, try Vladoff guns. And I was just like, I was scrolling back through and I was like, I never did this yet. So we're doing that today. This is a Vladoff gun, and we're going to be using it. It's going to be so much fun. And here's the skill tree here. So we're getting Cloud of Lead for bonus Incendiary, which is why I was saying I probably would have wanted Incendiary instead. We're also getting Incendiary from Stoke the Embers. We have on crit, get ammo regen, health regen, which is helpful here. We have, while sprinting, lifesteal. This skill is so garbage. I will get into that when we get into the run. But it's here because the lifesteal, and that's literally it, and it's not even good lifesteal. I probably could get away with just taking this point and moving that in a match. Actually, you know what? Skip Russian Offensive. Nope, we're respecking on the spot, just simply because that skill is a literal piece of garbage. There we go. Anyways, so Scorching RPMs, one of the few skills that Moze has that increases crit damage. So we want to get as many varied sources of damage as possible, because that's just one of the best ways to increase your damage formula in this game. We got mag size, the Iron Bank, 70% increase mag size, just nuts. And then we've got some for the road. Whenever exiting Iron Bear, get infinite ammo. So basically that just means you don't consume ammo. And we have Forge, which is passive ammo regen, which is why we want that super high mag size, so that Forge can just permanently upkeep our magazine. We have Big Surplus, which is will action skills cooling down, deal bonus incendiary damage. It's basically just fire in the Skag Den, but for cooldown instead of literally anytime you deal splash damage. Health regen, because health regen is going to be the key to survivability on this build. And then Explosive Fury for status effect stuff, because this is based on ignition, and we have a couple other things that are letting us deal fire damage. So getting to get, wow, lighting people on fire gives us 1.4% health regen. That's literally what it's here for. That's it. All right, so we have 2 points in Vampire instead of 1. Typically, you want to be running a build like this with a CMT grenade, and this way Vampire will just keep you alive forever. But we're not running a CMT because I didn't feel like farming for another one, and I didn't want to take one off another character. So we have 2 points in Vampire. We're gonna be using a Nagata for our grenade heals. That's what we're doing. Explosive punctuation here. Every time we deal splash damage, it's just literally gonna be short fuse and grenades. Every time we deal splash damage, cooldown rate increase. I forget what the cooldown is on Iron Bear, but yeah, so that's blue tree here. And then red tree, this is a unique part. So 5 points in armored infantry, 5 points in flat off ingenuity. So we're getting shield increase in DR. But then thin red line, we have 1 point in thin red line, and we're using the plus ultra. So the plus ultra doubles your base max HP. And then we have 2 health rolls, so we're at 125% increase. And so a neat thing that we're going to be doing here is that 20% isn't of that base of like 60k or 40k or whatever the base health is of Moze. It's going to be of that 110k. So let's break it down. So probably like 50k roughly. 50k is the base HP, so roughly 110k as the max HP. So we're taking 20% off that, and we're knocking that down to like 80 what? Words. 88%. Not 80. Wow, that's not the number. 88,000. Good lord. All right. So, yeah, it's giving us a lot of shield. And so we're going to be taking advantage of that 25% chance to absorb bullets, which is another piece of survivability for this. But it's going to be utilized for giving us that cooldown rate, so we can constantly be proccing that action skill and max health regen. That way we have several forms of health regen. And the reason why I say Russian offensive, actually, let's just get started. Let's get started here. And I'll explain in a minute why Russian offensive is a literal piece of garbage. So, Russian offensive, whenever you are running it, you have to stop shooting every time that you want to restart sprinting. And one of the problems with that is every time you jump, every time you take off the sprint key, you are having to reactivate sprint, meaning you have to stop shooting every time that happens. And so you're taking away from the amount of shots that you're doing here. And then, last minute, if you need a little bit of assistance getting to survive, you just switch with Iron Bear. Switch is not the word to use there, but you get into Iron Bear, and then let it go into Auto Bear. I got Vladoff weapons in the mail. I guess I've killed enough enemies for that. I'm curious, what is the base cooldown? Because this math is not mathing in my head. Oh, that's because that's such a high freaking thing. I may actually be better off without bigger surplus and getting more health regen. That might actually be the play. Yeah, I think that's the play, is to just ignore big surplus. Because big surplus is a really good skill, don't get me wrong. But I'm not really proccing it very often with that many in Grizzled. I'll just kill Kraken. Now we're gonna switch over here. And don't get this wrong. These enemies do have the capability to absolutely shred your health bar. If you are not paying attention or you mess up your cycles, you will probably die. Even with a full shield survivability meta setup with Moze, it is still very possible for you to die. So running, it's not very often you find somebody running other than meta survivability tools, just simply because if you're not, it's really difficult to actually properly stay up for if you're not playing right. And this setup right here, I'm not really playing very well. I literally set this character up and didn't touch them for a while. So if that says something about how ease of use this survivability tool setup is. That and I literally respec on camera, so whoops, I didn't mean to take my finger off the trigger. Oh well. We'll get back to where I'm at pretty quickly. You know, as long as I land a crit, my ammo regen should sustain itself. But I see a lot of people dog on this weapon. I'm just like, this is a really good tool for short fuse, because it's based off of the amount of times you hit an enemy, or the amount of times that you shoot to hit the enemy. So it's like, short fuse being this omegally busted skill on its own does really well when you are amping everything else to do. I mean, like, when you're amping splash with like a Blastmaster comm, short fuse doesn't need skill tree or weapon buffs, so all you really need to do is get the short fuse to proc. And that's all we're doing here, is getting short fuse to proc, and then we just absolutely shred an enemy. Yeah, see, it's like, if you're not focused on the survivability section of this, then you can very much die really quickly, no matter what you're running. If you're running lifesteal, from lifesteal to anything, it's very easy for you to die if you actually don't pay attention. You see a lot of people just stand out in the middle of the open or like do the sliding, but what's really happening there? I mean, like a lot of the time they're playing Zane, so if they're standing out in the middle of the open, literally they have barrier, and if they're not running barrier, then they're not being shot at. That's really the dynamic that happens with those. And then there aren't any other characters that can get away with just standing out in the open. They're moving, or they're stunning, or they're doing something else to give that survivability as well. It's that everybody loves to contribute that to lifesteal, which really isn't the case. I mean, Amara can survive because she has a boatload of health regen skills, so you have health regen while your lifesteal isn't active. Because if all you were using was lifesteal, then the moment you stop shooting, you die. Or the moment you miss, you just start to die. And it's like, I don't see very many people do that. So that's probably not the only survivability tool you have. She also has DR, damage reduction, and again, she has the ability to stun with like with phase stuff. Now, in a boss fight, if you are 1v1ing a boss, then sure, life steal's all you need, because the boss isn't going to be hitting you very often. just even if you're standing still, because AI bad. And that's one of the problems with this game, is like the bosses themselves are too easy. The ad clearing sections are what make this game fun and difficult to an extent. No, so there's the reason why I chose the Nagata out of all of the legendary grenades to go get. So what you can do with, well, how Vampire works is that every grenade that impacts the enemy gives you 8% of your health back. It's not life steal. It's life regen based off of an impact condition, which is inherently different than life steal. And rocking it this way, you are getting with the Nagata, good lord, with the Nagata you're getting like 8 different grenades, or I think 8 off the top of my head, I don't remember. I haven't used this grenade in so long. But you're getting multiple impacts off of one throw, which is why the CMT was so good, is because you're getting so many impacts that bounce off of enemies and go to other enemies, and do so much with that. I hit myself with the Nagata explosion. That is one of the problems with Moze. Being able to blow yourself up. And that's not the only thing that's dangerous to you, but it's one of the most dangerous things to you. With all the explosions that you're doing and the amount of grenades that you're chucking, it's really easy for you to blow yourself up. Let's see. So there is a grenade launcher function on here. Let's see how well this does. Okay. I haven't actually played with the grenade function. I was mostly focused on getting all that fire rate stuff for other things. So, oh. This actually does a lot more than I thought it would. Huh. That's super interesting. Oh, another thing you can do is if you're struggling to survive, you can just hop into auto bear. which I also feel like is a really good survivability tool on those is auto bear. So like the gunner slot. And sure, it's a little off the walls of a survivability tool, but it definitely works. So you get out of Iron Bear, and then you can hop into the gunner in the auto bear slot, and you're just relatively not going to take damage. Oh, okay. Well, that confirms my suspicions about how it worked. This grenade launcher function is a lot of fun as well. That's kind of crazy. Does it get the increased fire rate buff? I don't think it does. That kind of sucks. Alright, we're switching back to this firing mode for these guys. Alright, get in and out. Okay. Oh. Now, one problem with having the health reserved in the shield is you don't get that extra immunity frames when you are at max HP. It doesn't remove it from shields, but it does remove it from your... Oh, where'd he go? There we go. I actually think the grenade deals more damage, just overall. Not just in the single shot, but overall DPS. I think it does more, which would make sense. It adding a splash element to a to an already high-powered item here that didn't have splash prior. So where'd the guy go? Good lord. Alright, we're gonna switch back to this. But yeah, wow. The grenade section of it does really well. And this is a really good short fuse proccing tool, and it does decent damage on its own as well. Which is a lot of fun. I am very much enjoying this weapon. You know, both firing modes do really well, and they have different use cases. It just works. Come on. Here we go. Oh, that's not good at all. Where's this other guy at? There we go. Let me swap to this. There we go. You know, with a name like the Dowsing Rod, I would think that this would have some sort of like debuff attached to it, but it does not. That would be interesting though, having a debuff tied to this weapon. Like if you shoot the grenade and it would shoot like whatever grenade you have, and you would just be able to... Oh, hold up. I see a Discord message. Oh, it was just an ad in a server that I'm not really active in. Okay. But just like, if you were able to just like shoot whatever grenade that you had out, and then you just like grab the P-nade and you just start shooting the P-nade at people. That would be awesome. I literally just bought ammo on an unlimited ammo build. Okay, well... The Stormchuckers here are not immune to shock damage, they're just resistant, which makes this really freaking easy to absolutely annihilate them. Oh. This is a really good song for this. I usually have, my videos usually start with this song, not get to this song. I mean, like when I was originally at this part in the playlist. Whoops. If you wanted better damage with the weapon itself, instead of having like the unique survivability setup there that I was doing, what you could do is you could grab a Revolter, and you would have a lot more shield capacity at that point, but you wouldn't really be using it very often. So you can grab a Revolter, and you can get the action skill and overcharge shields, and all we do with this build is we hop an Iron Bear, and then get out of Iron Bear, and then you get another 10 seconds to kill stuff with that increased fire rate and whatnot, and you get that extra shock thing. But the other side to that is what you could do is, instead of using that, just let them break your shield, and then immediately start killing stuff to get that regen from Guardian rank. And then when your shield starts regenerating, you no longer need to worry about survivability in that sense. So you can still use the Revolter on Moze, and then if you do that, you would want to switch the base elements of your weapons to Cryo. Yeah, Cryo. Probably Cryo. You would either have to do Cryo or Radiation, because you're getting the other two elements from other stuff that you're doing in your trees and whatnot. So, yeah. Or actually Corrosive, because Corrosive, then you can do Radiation and as the action skill end. So that way you're getting a boatload of radiation damage on that consistent corrosive damage, getting some nuts damage numbers out of Green Monster. But yeah, that is the Dowsing Rod, and that is a takedown confirmed. I hope you all had an amazing time here today, and shout out to me find it again. Nuke EE3KX for the suggestion of using Vladoff guns on Moze. I don't play Moze very often, so I hope y'all enjoyed this, and yeah, that is the end of this video.